Hello, everyone. Hello, everybody. How you doing? Welcome
what's
to my
up?
podcast. Today I'm with Simon
Hi, how's it going?
and Daniel.
Hi, everyone.
So he's from Germany. He's from Spain. You could probably tell he's from Spain. He's from Germany.
Are you comfortable with being introduced as being from Spain?
No.
Okay, I do apologize, everyone. He's from Catalonia. There we go. Because we all know that's a different country. But anyway,
Yeah, and you're from Preston, right?
I'm from Preston, which is not a different country.
No. It's
From
not
what?
even a country. Not
Should
even
be a different country, but it isn't.
Why?
So, yeah. Why?
Why is Preston so different? I mean, everybody's.
It's
all,
not so
all
different.
English people say that about wherever they're from. They're like,
It's not so different, no. But I feel the Northwest and the North is different from the rest of the country, yeah.
okay, how different? How? Let me guess. They drink more.
No, yeah, probably.
That's always what John Mulaney always says. That any town he says, like, you guys probably drink the most of everybody. I was like, yeah, we do. Exactly. That's us.
So how did you start in comedy then?
How did I start in
Yeah.
comedy? It's not that interesting. It's kind of like I went on stage, got booed off by the host of the show.
Who was the host?
I'd rather
you
not
can't name it,
say.
fair enough.
Just
is it
doesn't
Barcelona,
matter.
or-
No, it's here in Munich.
What? The host boot you off the show? What
Well,
the fuck?
booed me off like after
What?
30 seconds.
30 seconds booed
yeah,
you off.
something-
That's harsh.
something like
he,
that.
He booted you or he booed you?
I mean, it
It's
wasn't
like,
like,
get
boo.
off,
It
get
was
off.
like, okay, that's enough, and took the mic off me. So
What did you say? Did you say something really controversial or?
I don't think
can't
so.
imagine.
But in any case, it doesn't matter. The thing is, I went on stage.
It kind of matters. I'd be really upset.
Yeah.
I mean, I was upset for 4 years. I didn't do
Oh, fair
comedy.
enough, okay.
So
He turned into a gong show where just he was the only guy with a card.
yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the power you have. Yeah, so that got me off
I can imagine.
Okay, Jesus Christ.
for 4 years. So yeah, that was
Wait a second, you didn't perform for 4 another years.
exactly.
So that was like, when was that? That was like
I was
2016 or what?
24 because I wanted to do it before I was 25. Kind of like I put
Was it was it in Munich?
yeah.
Was it in English or German?
Is it, what,
It was in German actually.
Okay.
what year was that?
28. 24. 2014. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, 10 years ago. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. To the day, not now, but like 2 months ago, because it was around Oktoberfest. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Harsh that someone grabbed the microphone
God
off you.
damn, yeah.
yeah, well, whatever. It's not that amazingly interesting. That's kind of like the first time, and then a second time, I kind of like bounced again into it, kind of like picked my pieces together and said like, let's try again. I mean, I guess if I struck out on that one, I would have never done it again.
Yeah.
Right. But that went all right. I mean, I have recordings of both of those, and I don't listen to them. But I do know that the second time I went after a person that didn't do particularly well. So it was kind of like, ooh, what's going to happen now? And it kind of went all right, enough that the host was like, oh, give him a round. Let's see him
Okay,
again,
okay.
like encouraging.
Yeah, okay.
And it kind of like maybe reinforced the idea of like, okay, the other guy, like, clearly didn't enjoy it. But
Well, yeah, if they took the microphone from you, yeah.
there's people that might enjoy it. So it's not all of your value.
In
based
that
on
one
that.
moment is-
exactly.
yeah, okay,
And it
okay.
kind of like encouraged me to you had an inkling or an idea of what you want to do, and this kind of like allowed me to continue. Yeah.
Okay, harsh. Okay.
But for 4 years, like, what a fucking asshole. Like, that
I
guy,
know.
he
I mean,
he
but-
stopped you from doing
yeah.
comedy for
But he
4
wasn't
years.
commenting on every video that I didn't post, like, don't do comedy. It was just all in my head in a
It's
way.
not only
right?
don't do comedy. Often it's like criticizing some of the other guests that are on there as well. It's just a pure stream of negativity. Anyway, so yeah, Simon, how did you get started in comedy?
I went on stage. I mean, the real, like, the long answer is, I mean, I did first time I just got a laugh, like, in front of a crowd. I just did a presentation about a history of physics in school.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was like that was like the first time I really, because the teacher just said, just whatever, just do. It doesn't matter. It's
You
like
got
a
a
small
laugh with
portion of the grade.
history of physics.
Yes, I did. You
Chapeau.
were supposed to do 25 minutes. I did 40 minutes. on and just.
I love that.
Yeah.
Even then, it's like you're supposed to do 25. I'm going over.
Yeah,
Just-
exactly.
I didn't
But
see the
just already
light.
said like, okay, whatever. And I mean, there was a bunch of inaccuracies in there. Sorry, I'm too far away. But it was really fun. It was just, and if students actually enjoyed it, they gave a fuck about history or physics. I'm like, okay, this is like, this is a good sign, you know?
Okay. So
And
it's
I
like
just
a funny TED talk.
sort of like, yeah.
Okay,
like that,
okay.
yeah.
So we could have
It's really
lost
fun.
you.
And I got an
to-
A on that, even though he said like it was like a couple of things, but you put so much effort in. Like this is like a tiny fraction of your grade, and you put more effort into this than anything else all this year. So yeah, he just gave you an A. But yeah. Anyway, and I went on stage
Even
first
though there
time
were
and,
inaccuracies, it's like, yeah,
Exactly.
that didn't happen. But here's your
It
grade.
is a good grade anyway.
yeah, exactly. But then I mean, first time on stage was just December 2019. It's gonna be it's 5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know the exact date, but yeah,
Okay.
5 years ago. And yeah, it was mixed reaction. Yeah, I just got. It was actually like some people loved it because I went really hard. I just thought I was like really inspired by like the Bill Burr, Louis C.K., Jim Jeffries. I just thought that if you just have the balls to say something really crass, then people will love it. Which and actually some like people actually did love it, but the ones who didn't, like a lady after the show came up to me in German. She said like, "It's irresponsible what I'm doing up there on stage." She yelled at me. I was like, and I was shocked. I did not. I mean,
Was
it's the
she
first time.
specific what you said that was irresponsible?
No, not exactly. But I can guess
Just in
what
general?
it was. Yeah,
Okay.
I can
What
guess
was it?
what it
Are you
was.
going to share with us? What was
I
it?
don't know if I could do it on a podcast, but yeah, it was an abortion joke. But yeah, she just and she's probably I mean, I get it. It's a triggering subject, but I mean, it was a comedy show. But I mean, it's a German audience. They're not used to a lot of people
They're not
touching
used to
that kind of
humor,
stuff.
yeah.
They're not used to humor. I mean, I don't want to like shit because I do that a lot. I talk like badly about German audiences, but it's just because they're not like as well receptive to my favorite type of humor. I really like that. I mean, there's a reason why we don't have a Jim Jeffries or a Jimmy Carr or a Louis C.K. or a Bill Burr or a Shane Gillis from Germany. It doesn't exist because that kind of comedy just can't thrive here. Like if a guy like a young Shane Gillis would walk up on stage in Germany, that guy would be like snuffed out before he could even
Snuffed out. That's a bit harsh.
I mean, I guess like it would be
Like
like
mafia style.
nipped in the bud is what I meant to say. He wouldn't be stuffed out, but it's just like that. Like that, I just don't. I mean, I don't see it. Maybe I don't know. I don't watch. I don't know every German comic, but I just feel like that kind of boundary pushing comedy can't really thrive here yet.
Okay.
I think we're getting there. I think it's getting really better, but
Okay.
it was still not there. There's a
Okay.
reason why even like all the German comics, they all watch American and British stand-up comedy and Australian comedy because that's just where the most boundary pushing stuff happens.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
How about you, Daniel? Or have you already
Yeah.
told this story?
No, I haven't. Not on the podcast.
Really? Okay, that's interesting.
No, I was acting in a play at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and it was 11 till 12 in the morning. So from 12 o'clock, I was completely free. So I go and watch as many shows as possible. There's so much variety there. There's so much to see and do.
Which year are we talking about?
I want to get this right, but I'm not sure.
Ballpark.
2019,
Oh, okay.
2018, 2019. And I went to watch loads of shows afterwards. So and a lot of them were comedy shows. And I was watching some of that, and I just thought I could do this. I thought I'd like to have a go, but it took me a long time to build up the courage. And then I did my first open mic in London, and I remember being so scared. I was second in the lineup, and I ran into the toilet while the first guy was still on. Like, I can't do that. I'm so scared. I can't do this. Like put water on your
It's like
face.
8 Mile.
8 Mile, yeah.
Is it 8 Mile? Is that, I don't know.
I
All
mean,
right
he
then.
pukes actually.
Okay, I didn't-
Yeah.
I did vomit
puke.
on his sweater already. But you
I
didn't,
didn't
have
puke,
it.
but I
Mom
was like proper
spaghetti.
scared.
Yeah, exactly.
And I freaked, and then I was like, "You've got to do this now. You've got to do this." And I went on stage and I did it. I have hardly any memory of it whatsoever. I only know it happened because I recorded it. And it was one of those. It went all right, but I wonder if I got a lot of like charity laughs because people knew it was my first time. And but I remember being so scared. And the second time I did it in Munich, and then as well, just the nerves. I barely remember it.
Interesting decision, though. You're in London, second time in English, but in Munich.
Yeah.
Wow. Why? You moved.
I was already living here.
Oh, okay.
So I was in London like for a week, and then I decided to do it there. And I wanted to try it away from my home, because Munich's my hometown. Well, I've lived here for years, so I wanted to try it away from where I live, and kind of like nowhere near.
I get it.
And then I tried it here, and I didn't do well at all on the second time. Second album syndrome, I think, just like rubbish.
Second album.
But did you do the same kind of jokes, or did you do?
Yeah,
Okay,
but it was all.
So it wasn't your second album.
No. What my second album? My second, it's terrible. But I liked the process, and I liked the getting up on stage, and I was like, don't quit. You know, even though you don't quit. Yeah. I'm sure some other people wish I had, but some,
at least one.
But then I kept going, and I kept going, and I kept going, and then suddenly things start to click. I think you start to realize timing and what works and what doesn't work, and you find your own voice. You know what I mean? And then after a little while, you start to find yourself and become comfortable. And when you become comfortable, you can really express yourself. Mm-hmm. But that took a long time for that to happen for me. Mm. But so I started, did a play, was acting in a play. We did 22 shows at Edinburgh, and in the afternoon I had nothing to do. Mm-hmm. So I'd wander around watching stuff.
Nice. Anyone particular that you saw that year that was like striking? I do have like...
So I genuinely can't... I saw one or two that I thought were really good. There's a comedian called Tom Little that I saw. He's really funny. He's from like the kind of the northwest of England, but much further up. So has a different accent. And I thought he was really funny. I'd recommend anyone, if you get a chance to watch Tom Little, he's really funny. And there were some negative ones. I thought, God, this is terrible. But I genuinely don't remember those.
Those are also helpful to lower the expectation, right? To make it attainable.
There was genuine kind of like, if they can do it, I can do it.
Exactly.
But I don't remember. I'm not trying to avoid naming names. I don't remember who, because there's so many free shows there, so you can easily watch 10 in a day. So you just like show after show after show after show after show, and a lot of frankly okay. They're just okay. But every now and again, the ones that really stuck in my mind were the ones that I was like, wow, this is really good. It was normal stand-up comedy, standard kind of 1 hour show, or there was a running theme through it. It was about a particular topic, really well written. And it was just like, wow, this is really, really good. I really want to have a go at doing this.
For anyone who might not be as informed as we are, so the Fringe Festival is August in Edinburgh. It's a month of shows. There's around 3,000 shows they put on. There's comedy. There's also theater. There's some music acts, musicals and everything. So that's what we're talking about. Yeah. It's a great place to see everything, all the different styles, clowning, there's everything.
But not just that, dance, expression, expressionist theatre, some stuff that's really out there. The quality there's a broad range. Yeah. But even the kind of bad stuff is still interesting. There's so much creativity going on there. I cannot recommend it enough.
Yeah,
definitely want to go.
No, I didn't go this year. But I plan to go next year for sure. The only downside is it's expensive.
It is.
It's brutally expensive. Yeah, it's the accommodation's brutally expensive.
The shows aren't surprisingly. They're 10, 15. Some are donation based.
There's the free Fringe donation based. There's a ton of free shows, but to get accommodation there costs a fortune. Esther Gilvray, we're the ones that did the play together that I'm talking about. So in the afternoon when we did the play together, we'd go and watch loads and loads of stuff together.
And you have acted in several things, but do you still do it? Or
No. I kind of sometimes I want to get back into it, but I get my stage fix through doing stand-up comedy. So I get kind of what I need out of it. And doing a play versus doing a stand-up gig it's a huge amount of work to do a play. Huge amount of work.
It's not more rewarding?
You can say it. It's fine.
It's a tricky one. They're different. Because I did a show recently, so I did 30 minutes with a friend of mine, Abigail, and we did 30 minutes each. And the 30 minutes I did, genuinely, I killed, and it was amazing. And the feeling afterwards was phenomenal. Like really, just wow! I felt so good. But obviously, the flip side to that is when you don't do well, it's a horrible feeling.
I thought the flip side was when you go down in the comments and you think like, fuck it.
No, God, no. The if you don't do, especially new material, you try new material and it doesn't go how you think it's going to go.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's brutal. And what I like about comedy though as well, there's nobody else to blame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You live or die by what you do. Whereas in a play, there's always excuses you can find, like, oh, it wasn't well written, or there's this. I've done a couple of things that really weren't well written. And you kind of, coming to watch it is like a tax on people. I feel like, don't. No, but, and some things are brilliantly written. So they're wonderful to do, and learning the dialogue and actually acting is fantastic. But still, I like the fact when I go on there, it's my stuff that I've written, and if you do well, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't think of a feeling that replicates it.
So you can express yourself more, and also it's take all the credit, take all the blame. No
I think
sharing.
There's no, not really. If there's no kind of, and that's not like egotistical because you've got to suck up the horrible failures. As well as also why not when you get the wins, why not just feel great about it? Yeah, because you're going to feel bad about the losses.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you get a win, a new bit of material does well, why not say, hey, I really enjoyed that. Whereas when a new bit of material bombs, it's like going home depressed.
Just a correction for all the up and coming comedians. What Dan just said, like if you, it's not true. You can blame somebody else. A lot of comedians do this, especially if you're new. The audience, always good to blame the audience if it doesn't go well.
I've never bought into this. People blaming the audience.
Blame the audience.
I mean, not in Dan's case. In Dan's case, he is at fault.
It's me. Then it's
always
absolutely my
his fault.
No, some audiences. The truth is, some audiences aren't really, for whatever reason, they're not invested in the show. They don't really want to be there. Yeah. They've been dragged along. Maybe the comedians just aren't doing well. The room might not be right. I've performed in rooms that are really cold. Like, your audience is still wearing the jackets. So that's not the best environment for comedy. It can be in the summertime, so it can be relatively late, 8 o'clock, but there's huge windows and the sun is shining in. And I feel like comedies takes place in the dark. Yeah. But still, bottom line is, if you didn't do well, then it's down to you.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely just seriously. I mean, I believe that it's even like, I mean, I can totally imagine that there are things that are out of your control, and maybe they ruin the show, but it's not actually helpful to not accept responsibility, even if it might actually not be your fault. It's always better to accept responsibility and see what you could have done.
You're not going to learn anything by blaming other people.
Yeah,
so
or improve.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You can only work on the things that you
absolutely.
can control.
Yeah, and I can't control. I mean, sometimes I can. It depends. But if I'm turning up to perform at someone else's show, then a lot of variables are out of my control. I can control. Have I practiced material? Am I delivering it well? I can control that. Is the new material any good? It might be rubbish. So I just, or for whatever reason, the performance was off. I don't know. Timing was off. Whatever.
Reading the room, interacting with the audience.
Absolutely.
You can control
there's so
those
many
things.
variables, but variables that are out of your control. If the lights aren't working, the microphone's faulty. Yeah. Still, the audience aren't going to like. But still, if you're really constantly saying, "Oh, it was a terrible audience tonight," then I don't know. Maybe watch your own performance and see, did I do well tonight? Did I do my best? Yeah, and maybe you did, and it just wasn't your night. That can happen too. For whatever reason, the crowd, it wasn't my crowd, it wasn't my night. So it's not the audience's fault. It's just, but also you can't expect, if I do my best, 100% of people are still not going to think I'm really funny.
Yeah. But that's also, sorry, go ahead.
That's also.
It's what I mean. I think it was Patrice O'Neill said that you he said it literally in this special. I think in Mr. P, one of the legendary special. He just said that some people right now aren't laughing, but that's good. You don't want everybody laughing. That's not good because it creates a tension between the people who are laughing and those who are not. Because when everybody's like laughing, it's like it's a little bit. It starts to I'm messing up the quote, but he just definitely said that like 80% people laughing, that's 100% success. Like if those 20%, totally fine if they don't laugh.
But I read I don't know if this is true or not. I don't know if I read it, someone told me, I forget where I heard it from. But something like, if more than 20% of the crowd laugh, it creates a ripple effect.
Yes, yeah.
But something like less than 20%, then it's going to be isolated. And they're not really, I'm sure it's not as exact as that. It's not an exact science, right? But something like there's some kind of a tipping point in a room.
Yeah.
And then if you can get enough people beyond that tipping point, then you're going to get that regular laughter, that rolling laughter.
Yeah.
And under that tipping point, you're going to hear random laughs from the darkness.
Yeah.
But it might not spread, and then
It doesn't ignite.
Yeah. It doesn't.
But also, like, sometimes you don't need 20%. Sometimes one person is enough if they have a special enough laugh, then they can.
I don't know.
Because I know that from experience.
I know that from experience, but it's gone the other way. Whereas the only thing people can focus on is the crazy laugh.
Yeah.
And then you might as well just not speak.
Yeah.
But like the situation that you had, I think like if you know it's someone's first time ever on stage, and after like 30 seconds you grab the mic and just say stop. I think that's like a bit nasty.
I don't know if they knew even it's the first time or anything, or they just thought like it's messing up my open mic, whatever. Like,
but you'd have to say something if you'd have to say something pretty extreme and offensive for someone to grab the mic.
Yeah, well, I don't think I did, but I know the bit that I was trying to do.
What was it? What did you do?
It's the thing where the thing that I wrote, I don't think you've seen it, but when I went to IKEA and you have to change I had to change like a piece of furniture or whatever, and you call the hotline, and it's just a machine, right? And the machine didn't understand what I was saying, and she just hung up on me. And
so it was an IKEA joke.
Yeah, kind of
about
thing.
Furniture.
It was about
it was that.
and it's about how the algorithm that they have created to parse the views and everything didn't understand me, and it's infinite amount of time that it has, and it didn't have any time for me, and it's this kind of thing. It went into this direction, and that was more or less a little less of that is what I was capable of saying actually.
And that was it.
How long was that?
30 seconds, maybe.
30 seconds. Holy
so
shit.
20
IKEA answer phone
seconds,
bit, which is
something
kind of like, it's certainly, I don't see anything offensive in that.
It's very mild. Yeah.
And that's a bit mean.
That's like when you like have sex for the first time, and after 30 minutes you said, no, fuck off. It's not working.
30 minutes. Wow.
30.
Okay.
No, 30 minutes. Stud over here. What?
Yeah, seconds.
No, but like, yeah. So I mean, it
No,
might
I
have
think
been.
they're different analogies.
I don't think it's
I'm
the
not
same.
sure. I don't think it's the same. I think we're a bit. Yeah, no.
Okay.
Like I say,
they're not
My
comparable.
analogies need work.
It was very short period of time. It might have been 30 seconds. It felt like 10 seconds. It's probably more like 20, 30 seconds, but it felt like nothing because it's like, okay. And he even had like a small chuckle of something I said, and then like 5
So
seconds.
he even laughed a bit and then...
No, but no one else. He had like a small chuckle, and 5 seconds later, and I don't know if the chuckle it was just like, I'm gonna rip his mic off or something. Like whatever.
I find that really...
But very interestingly, what you said about blaming the audience, what I like is, or what I find is very grounding, is when several people in the night are dying. Everyone is having a hard time. Everyone is saying like, the audience is shit, the audience is shit. And then one guy, one person, one woman, doesn't matter, goes on stage and kills and kind of shows everyone like, no, it's not the audience.
Yeah.
Like it kind of is very. I like it because it's kind of like a reminder of like it's a circle jerk. Everyone is like, oh yeah, they're shit, and everyone is reinforcing this idea, and someone comes to slap you into reality and say, no, you're all not doing it enough or well enough today.
Yeah.
No. One of the most fun I had doing an open mic, and I was laughing, and my cheeks were from like, so funny, was every single comedian was bombing. Everyone. And then one of the comedians comes in, and we just kind of, and he was just like stood dazed looking at the ceiling, and we just started like taking weird pictures of him and his feet and stuff like that, and then sending to each other via WhatsApp. And it's one of those things, it's like if you're at school, the back of the class, and you just can't stop giggling. That was it. And it was just hilarious. Not if you not funny really, but it was. But in that moment with those with those people, it was brilliant.
Well, it's a shared experience. Is
Yeah.
one of those you had to be there kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like going through war, I guess. I don't know. Bombing on stage, as bad as you may feel or everything, it's part of the process. I have already verinnerlichen? Internalized it. Like, oh yeah, you have to bomb to get material to improve and everything. But that one was significant because it was representative of me not being able to pursue my dream in a way, right? So that was the worst thing that could have happened, which is me just never doing comedy again. If I bomb now, I will still continue performing, right?
Yeah.
So it will just be
Well, it
another
doesn't feel
pebble.
like it's not bombing. What happened to you when he took the microphone isn't bombing.
That's what I mean.
You
That's the worst thing.
You gotta have time to bomb.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like that's the worst thing that could have happened, like on stage, because it's like when they say, "Oh, what's the worst that can happen?" They don't laugh, and it's no, there's worse things probably. Like that would be worse if you gave up because of the bad experience. So the fact that I survived it in a way, to me just. It's valuable in a way. So I think
it's good that you can take a positive out of it. So we're nearly finished now with the podcast. Whether that's good or bad, let me know in the comments. I know one person is going to, I already know what someone's going to write. But we just want to wrap it up because we talked about comedy. So the idea is now we've all got quite a lot of experience, say 4 or 5 years. Is that about right? 4 or 5 years each of doing lots of open mics, extended sets, stuff like that. So Daniel, do you have any tips for anyone starting out?
Should I start? Okay. I guess there's different scales or different types of comedians. So if you are just considering starting, the best tip that I ever heard of someone is don't just book one spot, book multiple spots. That makes you accountable. Regardless of how the first spot goes, if you have a bad first night, people will tend to not do it again. So this forces you to have at least 3 or 4 experiences so that you can actually assess better, and then later on you can continue spotting. So that's one thing that I heard, which I thought was phenomenal. Just avoid having one experience where you base everything on. And obviously, maybe we'll do the round and then we'll come back to it. But there's more advanced tips. But
Okay.
Go ahead,
Simon.
I agree. Yeah, that's it's really good because you always want. I mean, you always want, not just when your first time. Just always try to have another show lined up because in case the first one doesn't go well, you don't have to. It takes so much. It's so much. Have to self-overcoming to spot again after having a terrible experience. But anyway, you already said that. I mean, really, I think the best advice that it's everyone says that, but I really think that people just sort of dismiss it because it sounds so obvious. But spot as much as you can. Do as many spots in as many different venues as you can. Because that's like something everybody like knows they're supposed to do that, but people just like, whatever. Like it's really because everything else like doesn't matter that much. Like if you like have one good show, it doesn't. It's you don't learn that much. If it's I'm losing my train of thought, but it's and just go everywhere where they let you. Like even in that one show where you really don't want to go there especially because you want to be as comfortable as possible at as many venues as possible, and they draw different kinds of crowds. So that's because there's tons of great advice out there that you should all listen to, but that's the most fundamental thing. Do is go on stage as often as you can.
There's no substitute for experience.
Exactly.
But I don't know if I was going to say something. It's easy to say just relax on stage, but that's incredibly difficult. But kind of echoing what you guys have said, when you've done multiple spots, you lose that kind of terror, fear of going on stage. And then once you've broken through that, then you can start to relax a bit more and enjoy it a bit more. But that only comes in with doing a few spots and at the very beginning taking a few hits and bombing a few times. And then you'll find like suddenly you don't bomb or you do really well, and then really enjoy that experience. Learn from it as much as the negatives. Yeah, keep going. Don't quit. If you want to do it, don't quit. Even when take the hits, don't quit.
And also also to go somewhere where you can have a good experience, because it's also really important to frequently have really good shows where you kill, because that'll keep you going. You can't
Absolutely.
because I think a lot of comedians just romanticize the grind a lot, and they just think, I had so many bad shows that just it's like a badge of honor, which I think it's a good coping mechanism. I think that's healthy, but if it gets too much, take it easy a little bit. Just go go back to some safer material where you just remind yourself you can actually do this.
I just want to agree with that. Like when you get a win, so I did a half solo 30 minutes and it went so well, and I was like, yes, it gave me so much confidence. So if things don't go well in the future, new material, just try and remember that. I think if you have you're trying a lot of new material, it's not really working out, there's nothing wrong with going back to bankers, just to give yourself exactly like you just said, just, okay, I know I can do this, right, let's keep going.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one more thing that's I forgot to make that point. The reason why I like going on stage as often as possible is the most important thing, because we're like looking for what's the best advice you can give somebody, and the more often you go on stage, the more you can try out. So if you get like some advice that's maybe not so good, it doesn't matter, because you go on stage so often that it doesn't matter that you maybe tried out stuff that didn't work, got advice that wasn't so great. But other than that, just, go looking for advice. Obviously, looking for tips, read some comedy theory. There's lots of great books and comedians that give great tips. The more often you go on stage, the more of these you get to try out. So, yeah.
And also, you don't have to listen to every tip. I think it's a good idea to
you
listen.
Can. You didn't just,
listen to every tip and but with experience, you can decide, that tip doesn't work for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. If I would say, if you have a vision or you have an idea, and it doesn't correspond to what external inputs are saying, you can definitely stick to your guts, but be aware that maybe there's a different way of doing things. There's plenty of ways to do things. So, for instance, one tip that might be for starters, many people will say, is do shorter material, do one-liners or shorter jokes instead of being stuck with a long story, because a long story, if it's not going well, you're stuck with it, right? But definitely, if you feel strongly about your long story, go for it, right? So like the advice can always be broken, and that's definitely.
Yeah. I think if you've got something you feel really passionate about, do it. And if accept that you might well fail at it. But if you feel really passionate about it and you really want to do it, then the audience, they might not laugh, but they'll still enjoy it. Because a lot of comedy stories, they're not laugh out loud funny, but you can still enjoy it. Like laugh out loud doesn't necessarily mean you're doing. If you don't hear loud laughs, doesn't necessarily mean you're doing really badly. I think the idea of badly is when the audience start fidgeting. If you see someone looking at their watch or their phone, it's like, I'm not doing very well here.
And also, I don't particularly maybe do it enough myself, but gain confidence through repeat performance of the same material is definitely a good tip. Several people say, like, bank your first safe set before you start branching out into different things and try new things, so that you gain that initial confidence. What you need is one boost initially that keeps you going.
I'd say often, because when you do like new material and the new material does well, but if you repeat it, you'll find you become so comfortable with it, and you don't have to look at any bit of paper, it. Then suddenly new things can come out and add to that material. But that ability to be able to do that probably only comes through some repetition. Because you feel so comfortable with it. I can do it without thinking. And then suddenly, boom, new ideas pop.
You can be in the moment.
You're much more in the moment. Instead of trying to remember what to say, you're absolutely in the moment. And I think the first time you do anything, obviously, you've got to get it in your head. So maybe you can't. You might be thinking, "What am I saying next?" Whereas when you know it off by heart, I don't have to. What am I saying next? It just flows, and then when you get that flow going, the mind seems to go into a particular place where it's creative.
Yeah. Maybe a final tip we didn't mention it at all, but everyone records themselves, right? Perception is one thing, but if you record yourself, you can objectively check how the reaction was actually. And you can also see if you actually had intonation or different phrase, way of phrasing things that might be a mistake at the moment, but works better. So you incorporate it. So that's something that we just assumed that everyone is doing, but maybe it's worth noting.
I'd recommend I record every set I do. I need to watch them all. Sometimes I record it, but I don't watch it. But often it's crazy how you think you've done well, but maybe not as well as you think. And the opposite can be true. You think you've done badly, but then, oh no, people are actually laughing. They liked it. So objectively afterwards, give it a day or two, then it can go very different than you think, different that you felt on the night, put it that way. And often it went exactly as you felt it did. But it's like you say, a turn of phrase, maybe the crowd say something and you fire back, but what you say is in that moment is really good, then you can make a note, write it down, use it next time.
What looks good doesn't always feel good. Like sometimes you can have a really watch the video back and there's actually it was a really good show, but you didn't feel good that moment at all. Like that can happen. So that's of course the more important thing. I mean, the audience they care more about getting a good show than you feeling good.
They don't care about inside. Like you might turn up to a gig not physically not feeling well, mentally not feeling well. But that's irrelevant to the audience. All they care about is what you do on stage. So
and that's when it becomes a job. You're maybe not feeling like it, but you're still doing it, and actually you're doing the job. You're making them laugh, and then
And even if you're doing this for fun, amateur, just open mics, I think if you can push through, really not wanting to do it, but you do it anyway, then I can't think of an example where it's always made me feel better afterwards. And I think if there's no pressure on you to do new material, old material, if you're really not feeling good, why not do stuff that works just to get through it, push through, and then feel good about it afterwards. But obviously, the only way you're going to grow is by doing new material. If you're just constantly doing the same stuff all the time, you might have a banger 5 minutes or 7 minutes, but it'll never be more.
Well,
if you don't push it. I mean, if you can still, I think that's really what to add what you said before, that you have to, like, repetition really can, I think, for me, that was a revelation. Just really old stuff, you can still, as long as you're pushing it and trying new things, then even with the old stuff, you can keep doing that for a long time.
You can add a bit
lot
to
longer
it or
because,
delete a bit to it. Sometimes it's good to delete a bit, make it shorter, more concise. Not always about adding.
Because if you have those really great 5 minutes, like you said, opportunities open up that you don't have with new material. You can't even think to add these little embellishments or whatever when you're just working on new stuff, because it's just totally new. You just focus on the newness and you don't even know your way around the bit yet. So really don't just, when you do old stuff, also just, you can keep pushing with that for a long time, I think.
Yeah.
I think as you get more experienced comedians, they can produce a special a year. They know how to accelerate that process a lot. They can push it so fast that it gets really in a diamond shape in a relatively short time. But if you're new like me, I still find with my first set ever, it's still evolving. I'm not there yet.
Absolutely, there's some jokes that are quite old, but every now and again you just think of something different or try something different. Cut, add, might work, might not work. Yeah. But you've got that base of an idea that works, and you can always fall back on it.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. I just wanted one last disclaimer. I've been doing I think we all have been doing comedy for 5 years. I think Jerry Seinfeld would say we're all 5-year-olds. That's how he always puts it. So just in case.
I think we're all newbies. Yeah. Relative to sort of seasoned pros that you see. Yeah. I guess relatively new.
But whatever. You can I don't know. The Buddha says you can learn something from literally everybody. Yeah.
There you go. Well, I think we'll finish on that pearl of wisdom then, shall we? So thank you, Simon. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Daniel, for joining us. Bye, everybody. Thank you for watching this or listening if you're listening to it. See you next time. Bye, everyone. Bye.
See ya. Bye.